Namaste, Shalabais. So this video is to address a little bit of what spirituality is about. What is it to go on a spiritual journey or to do a spiritual practice? And of course, people will have different definitions and different understandings of this, and I will of course also forget lots of points and be somewhat off target on some of them, I'm sure, as well, but hopefully it will give a bit of understanding of what these hippies are doing, or some of them are doing, and others are running around in hedonistic traps. When you start on your spiritual journey, it often comes from either a recognition that there is something more to life than your everyday experience. There's something deeper, and it's like something that's just bugging you. I can feel it. I have this sense that there is something more that I'm not getting. Or you're coming to this practice because you're suffering and you recognize that there is something, I'm suffering and I want out of this suffering. And spiritual practices have given a way out of suffering for thousands of years. And this is really a gift for everyone who's drawn to this path. All practices will tell you you're really lucky to have recognized this, as there's very few people in the world who actually does. And maybe you're a parent or something and is wondering what the fuck is going on with your kid. And I hope with this maybe you can get some understanding and understand what it is they're seeking or going through. And if you're on this path and wondering what the fuck I'm doing, then maybe you get some understanding of, that's what's going on here. So in all traditions, there will be a lot of wisdom that is transmitted in different ways or in different practices. Things that you need to realize to step out of this suffering, to find the answer to life that you're looking for. And these answers are there within yourself. You can recognize them from any kind of practice, also not spiritual practices, but from everyday life and from non-spiritual practices, or from sports, or from drugs, or from conversations with people, or from traumatic experiences. But a spiritual teaching picks out in a way what it is you need to recognize and presents them to you, not necessarily in terms of life experiences, but in a more pragmatic, maybe structured, or you can actually look it up in the book and see like, okay, the 21 lamrims, or don't remember all the names, but and then they give you a way to contemplate and taste these insights that will lead to your peace and happiness. What you're really seeking is peace and happiness, and that is within each and every of us. That is the core of human experience. And then we get social conditioning that lays on top like a there's many metaphors in different traditions of mud on top of the water, or dirty lamp that needs polishing, or they lay on top of our peaceful, natural experience of life and condition us with rubbish. And it is in this spiritual journey that you recognize that this rubbish that's on top of your peace and happiness is bullshit. It's not who you are, and it's something wrong with it. So when you start to awaken to this, you have a journey ahead of you, because you will have to decondition yourself from all these social conditionings, all these ideas and concepts of what society and the world is. And that's why it's really hard work as well, because, and the older you are, it's probably also more difficult, because these thoughts, systems, beliefs are ingrained more and more the older you get. And why you often can see children being so completely open, because they haven't gotten so much conditioning yet. They haven't been told how to behave and what to think of their emotions and experiences and behaviors and life. So when you awaken to this understanding that there's something deeper to life than what you are experiencing, and you want to recognize, okay, but what is it that experiencing? What am I? What is existence? You start digging in, so these layers will start falling off, and you need to work through them and let go of them. And most likely you're also doing some form of meditation in one variety or another, or something. Maybe you're dancing, it can also be a meditation. You do something that gives you a practice, that gives you a little bit of distance, and then you start recognizing, okay, I am not my thoughts are happening. I can observe my thoughts. That means I am not my thoughts. And the same might happen to feelings, sensations. And then you start wondering, okay, so what is it I am then? Since I find myself to think that I am someone, I think I go around and live my life, and I'm Øystein, and what is that? And then you go deeper into that, and with a meditation practice, first it's easier to see these conditionings. It's easier to see I am not my thoughts, I am not my feelings, because you become more subtle and you get more distance to them. But then in meditation practices, you can then also start getting glimpses or recognitions of what am I before all of these conditionings, before thoughts, before feelings, before sensations. What am I? What is it that's experiencing? What is the core of, of me? And you will see, oh, I'm not Einstein. I'm experiencing Einstein. I am emptiness and fullness at the same time. I'm everything and nothing. In the more modern non-duality, we've been translating this with consciousness. I am consciousness. I am the building block of the existence. In more older esoteric names, maybe you could call them, you would recognize I am God. I am that. I. It's the first thing in the existence, in creation. And for those parents who are sitting there and like, what the fuck? It's I imagine it's not easy to be told what this is, and it's an experience and a recognition that comes through intense questioning of life and meditation and contemplation. And there's beautiful videos out there that can also falsify your belief in reality, because well, I'm not good with these. I'm not good enough with these words and this resonance to repeat them in my own words well enough, maybe. But you think there's a table in front of you, but we have never proven a table. Whatever you go into, it's emptiness, emptiness, emptiness. A molecule exists of space. You have never actually touched anything in your life. When you touch an object, or you think you touch an object, you never actually touch anything. You're repelled by electricity in between. But these are there's really good videos out there who can explain this better. Rupert Spira has some really good ones where he can really challenge the modern science. So when you start on this journey, or when you continue this journey and you have these glimpses of, ah, shit, I am something deeper than my thoughts and my feelings, your world might really start to change, and you might lose or let go of the friends you had, because you see, they're not interested in the same as I am. I can't relate to them anymore. They don't understand what it is I'm seeing, and that can be challenging to let go of that, to let go of your old lifestyle, your old beliefs, your old friends, and can feel really lost and confused, because it's like you have this halfway understanding. You know that something is there, but you experienced it a year ago in a meditation and you never seen it again, but you know there's something you're looking for, and you don't know how to get there. And I'll give you a little hint: you can't get there, because that's what you are. There's nothing you can reach. It's what you are. And that's what I love about the Advaita approach, or the non-duality. It's recognizing that you can't make an effort to get there. You're already there. Every step that you try to take closer is actually further away, because what you're looking for is what's looking. Transisi, something like that. So every effort is a step away from yourself. Step back and stop looking and start being. Recognize, I am. I am. It's the only words you need eventually. Yeah, so when you go on this journey, there's so many insights that you need to have, and some people will need some of them and some people will not need the same, and they will come to different people in different ways. They will come at different times, and some people will not need some of them. They already realize it without realizing it. Some things will be really hard to work with. Other things will be really easy, and you don't even understand that that was a thing, while other people struggle years to understand the same thing. I think one of the first ones I was presented with was well, that's not true, but one of the first I maybe learned about in a Buddhist practice was the absence of desire is happiness. And to give a little bit of understanding how to recognize that is again meditation and contemplation. So meditate and get more and more subtle, giving me more space to recognize what is the order of which experiences happen. And then I would be presented with the contemplation of happiness is the absence of desire. And then the words would be there of when you're experiencing peace and tranquility, it is because there's currently no desire there. And then the mind, the body, creates a desire. Your mind catches onto it and thinks, ooh, I need that in order to be happy. So you're sitting there peacefully quiet, and then your mind says, ah, I need candy. Oh, I need to do something. I need to create something. I need to achieve something. I need to buy something. That will make me happy. And then your mind and your body activates to make that happen. And you get maybe, I got the new iPhone. Now I'm happy. You get the iPhone and you experience happiness. Not because you got what you wanted, but because now you don't want anything. So now there's an absence of desire until your mind again goes and say, I need a new laptop. And then you activate, you get a new laptop, you get the laptop, no desire, peace, happy. So this is just an example of how we recognize things often in spiritual practices, where you're presented with this piece of wisdom that might have gotten to you in life in a different way. You could have recognized that in a complete different sense, without meditating, without any spiritual practice, without just, some people know that already. And what a spiritual practice or a spiritual tradition does is that it gives you a lot of these wisdoms compressed, or they actually say what they are. So they're life wisdoms, but they point it out and they write it down, and they actually make sense. Yeah, you can find them on yogi tea leaves, yogi tea bags, or whatever, or on these wisdom words, toilet bathroom wisdom words or whatever. There will be similar things, but in the spiritual practice they hopefully give you the contemplation and the reasoning around it as well. And all these wisdoms will just give you more and more peace and happiness with each of these realizations. And that's also why I say that you don't need to you shouldn't need to meditate in order to be peaceful, because a meditation can keep you a meditation can keep you temporarily more on top of your mind. You get a bit more distance, you get a bit more clarity, you get some more distance to your emotions and thoughts, and then you forget to meditate again and it's all on top of you. But when you rather contemplate these wisdoms and really integrate them into the body, into the mind, into the heart, your mind will stop annoying you. And your emotions will stop annoying you. You will still experience them, and your mind will still be full of thoughts. Your body will have sensations, uncomfortable and comfortable, and there will be emotions that's more and less challenging. Some enjoyable, some not enjoyable, but you will have a different attitude to them, a peaceful attitude to them. And that's what it's about, of living in peace and happiness and experiencing the world as it is, and not through your old conditionings. And also what these spiritual practices does is that instead of only giving you bathroom wisdoms, they really try to dig to the core of human suffering. Not say, you're suffering because you have an argument with someone, or you're suffering because whatever. Like, they're really trying to go to the core, and that's where we get back again to what are you. So they're saying you're suffering because you believe you are an entity, you believe you are something, you believe you're Øystein. And suffering will end when you recognize you're experiencing Øystein. So they really, instead of and here we touch into the hippie world, instead of doing self-improvement, instead of making Øystein feel better, look better, behave better, and in a more sattvic, more peaceful way, we're trying to recognize that there is no Øystein. And through that recognition, true peace comes. And it's no longer dependent on whether you eat healthy food, do your yoga, and talk truthfully to people. Whatever you do, there will be a peace in it. So in one bottom-up tradition that I really like from Ramesh Balkasar, that I studied through Roger Castillo, it's a bottom-up tradition, so it goes the other way of instead of meditating yourself to a peaceful place and letting wisdom drop through to that peace, and then experiencing more and more peace, it goes the other way and says, okay, what are the causes of suffering? And it would identify suffering as 5 main sufferings: guilt, blame, pride, worry and anxiety, expectations, and attachment to outcome. Those are the 5 main sufferings. Anytime you're suffering in life, you could say, is it guilt? I believe I hate you because you did, guilt. I hate myself because I did something wrong. Blame, I hate you because you did something wrong. pride, I feel great about myself because I did something correct. These three are based on the belief of personal doership. And then you have the other two, worry and anxiety and expectations and attachments to outcome. These two are based on the belief that I need pleasure in order to be happy. So then you break it down to, instead of 5 sufferings, you have 2 concepts. You have personal doership and I need pleasure in order to be happy. And then you can start addressing those two and see, have I been happy in moments where I'm not experiencing pleasure? And through a meditation practice, you can see that you become more aware, you become more subtle, and you can see that, no, actually, I don't need pleasure in order to be happy. And the other, impersonal doership, I think meditation is quite required there to be quite subtle and see how our thoughts happening. Would you like coffee or tea? And the thought goes, the mind goes, coffee, tea, coffee. I want coffee. I chose coffee. And then you hear the last word because you're not meditating, so you only hear I want coffee, and you think, oh, I have free will. I chose coffee. Well, in fact, what happened was coffee or tea. Coffee, tea. I'll take the coffee. I choose coffee. And then you see that the thought I choose coffee comes after the choice have actually happened. And if I say that to someone who doesn't meditate, who doesn't want to see, who doesn't want to know, they'll be like, what fucking bullshit is that? But when you actually see and experience that for yourself and see, oh fuck, what does that mean? What does that imply? It actually means I have no free will. And that means that you don't have free will either. Which means that whatever you do that causes me pain or pleasure is actually not in your control. It was your body-mind complex that for some reason thought, coffee, I'll throw this coffee at this person. And then the other person experiences pain when it lands on them. And then the thought goes, you chose to throw coffee at me. While the other person is like, well, actually, sorry. Sorry for throwing coffee at you, but also sorry, I didn't actually choose to. It was my body-mind complex. Doesn't mean we're not responsible for our actions and that we have to take responsible for what our body-mind does. But you can find the peace in knowing that when you do something wrong, you didn't actually choose it. It was your mind body that chose it. And when someone else did something that caused you pain, you didn't really choose it. They can apologize. You can apologize because it's not nice to cause people pain. Unless, but these are deep realizations, and then one thing is seeing them, but then another thing is also integrating them and letting that land and being willing to twist your world and reality around and say, shit, I don't have free will. And that is hard work because these systems are ingrained with us since we're raised up, and the older you get, the more ingrained they get. And this is your spiritual work, to have these realizations and to integrate them, to trust them and to put them into life. So for those who's wondering, who's not doing any practice and wondering what these hippies are doing when they're going to all these feeling workshops and all spending so much time with themselves, in a way, it's because you need time to recondition yourself, to retrain, to re-understand. I think I spent 6 years just every day feelings, like a full-time job. I was barely working anything, full-time job of just feeling, contemplating, integrating, letting these realizations sink into me and transform me, and I'm a complete different human than I was 10 years ago. But it took time and it took effort and it was fucking hard. So that's why it's it's not, as my dad said, a holiday life. It isn't. It's really hard ass work that we need to do also for ourselves and for the others, because you will see the more and more you realize of these ancient wisdoms, the better you will behave and the more of a contribution you will be to the world without even trying. So with that, I hope you get some understanding of what spiritual practice really is and what it is you're going through, or what it is someone else close to you is going through. And yeah, no, I'll leave it at that. Yeah, thank you. Namaste.